Okay, so at the end of the video, you heard that 9 years after the discovery, there was a Nobel Prize that was awarded for the research. That's true. So Watson and Crick won the Nobel Prize. However, Rosalind Franklin wasn't included. Now, remember, it was her image that led them to the discovery that it was a double helix. Now, she shot them down the first time when they said it was a triple helix, right? She was not so nice about it, but she was correct that that wasn't the case. And remember, when they got this photograph, she was not informed that Wilkins gave it to them. It was Wilkinson that gave her, or that gave them her picture. So the joke is, what did Watson and Crick discover? Nothing. They discovered Rosalind Franklin's notes, right? Because they would not have made that discovery in the time that they did without her work. Now, she died 4 years before the Nobel Prize was awarded from ovarian cancer, and she was never, during her lifetime, she was never properly recognized for her contributions. In addition, come to find out that Dr. Watson isn't exactly the hero that he's made out to be. Just as recently as the last couple of years, he has been stripped of all his titles. His lab has rejected him, and they've cut ties with him. And he's got a long history of, shall we say, indecency. So in 1968, when he wrote his book about the discovery of the double helix, he was not super nice about Rosalind Franklin and really undermined her contributions to science, despite the fact that she was the only one in the entire group that actually had a degree in chemistry. And he criticized her appearance. In 1997, he gave an interview and said that women should be allowed to abort fetuses that carried a gay gene if they find a gay gene. In 2000, he indicated that he was only interested in hiring thin people because they're unhappier than larger people, so thin people are harder working than fat people. In 2007, he said he was gloomy about Africa because all of our social policies are based on the fact that their intelligence is the same as ours, whereas all the testing says not really. And what he's talking about is the average intelligence of Black people versus white people. Now, he is completely incorrect on what the testing says. It's complete crap. He's kind of an old, racist, bigoted white dude, and he finally got called out for it. He has made anti-Semitic comments in the past. He's referred to women as less effective in science. He thinks that the Ashkenazi Jews were the most intelligent compared to other people. It's completely bogus. And it's so frustrating to think that the person that made such a big discovery can be so small-minded as to thinking that that molecule is the cause of cultural improprieties in humanity. It's absolutely unbelievable. Like, part of it is hubris, right? So he's the one that discovered the shape of DNA. Therefore, DNA is the most important molecule there is, and all the ills of society can be attributed to defects with that molecule. And we know that that's not actually the case. And it got so bad that he ended up selling his Nobel Prize because he felt ostracized by the scientific community because they rejected him in response to his comments. He was given multiple occasions to kind of redeem himself and chose not to, and chose to reaffirm his stances even though they were flatly denied by evidence. He was stripped of all his honors, and the Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory that he ran for years revoked all titles, and they cut ties with him. And there are lasting impacts that are even more important. So he is the person that headed up the Human Genome Project, right? That was the first project to sequence the entire human genome. The entire human genome would include the genomes of people of different ethnicities, and he focused primarily on sequencing the genome of white Europeans. As a result, there's a lot of research that focuses on how DNA of white Europeans' response to different medications, but not necessarily equal representation for other ethnicities and cultures around the world. Now, you've probably heard me say a million times that we all share the same genetic language, and that's true. The reason that genetically modified organisms work is because bacteria don't know the difference between your DNA and theirs. So if you put a human insulin gene in bacteria, it's going to start producing human insulin, and we use that as a medication, right? So there is only one genetic language, but the fact of the matter is that most of the research concerning the human genome that's out there is heavily predisposed to one subset of the human genome, particularly Northern Europeans. And that's because Watson was the head of a lot of that research. So we're still dealing with the legacy of his racism and bigotry in science and trying to make up for that particular aspect of our literature and our research. So it can be very dangerous when people that wield as much power as Watson did, when they hold views that subjugate large portions of humanity. There's a really good TED Talk. We may have listened to it. No, you guys are juniors, so you haven't listened to it yet. I'll put the TED Talk up about racism and the Human Genome Project. Actually, you know what? I think we talk about that in topic 3, so I'll just leave it for now. We'll get to it in topic 3. So at this point, this is the end of our lecture for 2.6. You should be able to answer all these questions. Make sure you answer these questions in your notes at the end. It will help you significantly next skills test if we're using our notes. And if you can't answer all these questions, then that's a good indication that you need to go back and look at the slides again or listen to the videos again and add to your notes. Okay? All right. So I'll see you next time. In-class peeps, make sure you're keeping it real. Online peeps, I will see you. We'll do live lecture next rotation. All right? See you later.